The opponent is not the enemy. Challenge there makes us better. Satan is a system that exists within each and every one of us.
There to actually push us in a direction that helps us grow.
Exactly. First of all, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're one of my favorite people in the world. So today I'm here with Benjamin Malul, a Kabbalah teacher, Kabbalah instructor. How long have you been a Kabbalah instructor?
I started with introduction to Kabbalah around 1999.
So you weren't a Kabbalah instructor yet at that point?
Yeah.
You were introduced to it,
Yeah.
and where were you living at that time?
You know, I born in Israel, and over there you have to serve the army, and after the army I traveled for a few years, and that's where I discovered the world of spirit, the world of spirituality, the world of, people like to call it like the mysterious world, right?
So in Israel you are required to be in the army.
Yeah.
For 2 years?
3 years.
3 years. And then after the army, what did you do?
I just had to get out of it. To get out of Israel, because I knew there's, again, it's not the story, but obviously growing up in a very hostile environment, right around that time, there was a lot of different attacks, different wars, different things that are happening. And eventually at some point as a kid, 18, 20, you just think that that's not possible, that this is life, So I went to travel.
So
by the way, growing up in Israel, there's a lot of also the religious people around that, trying to control and, dictate to everybody or every school or every, educational system. And that's also, I did not buy or born into a religious house or family. Very, very secular, but also, that's not something I grew up with.
So when you left Israel, did you go and find a career path before Kabbalah?
No, I just wanted to explore the world.
So you were traveling and you were trying to figure out...
Everywhere, yeah.
And just trying to figure things out.
By myself, figuring out, meeting the most amazing, incredible people, incredible situation that you cannot really avoid thinking, wait a second, something is guiding me here.
Right.
Something's going, I don't know anybody, and how did I meet this, how did I get there? And obviously I was introduced in many, many, many different occasions to the Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, introduced to many, many different practices in different countries, different places. So many practices, the Eastern philosophy practices.
Which is, I think, where a lot of people who are searching for spiritualism start.
Yeah, the point for me, I never look for anything.
Right, it just showed up.
Just wanted to explore the world, because living in a tiny place as a dot on the globe, I wanted to see what's going on there.
Yeah.
And that curiosity I like to refer to is the key point for every individual to be curious, because this is, I remember in very young age, wanted to know, and my background is mechanics. I love mechanics. I love motorcycles, cars, taking them apart, build them again, all this engineering part. I'm very much practical in these ways,
Yeah.
So some people will say, "You're too crazy." I'm talking to my machines, I know I know how to listen to them.
There's an intuition.
Yeah, and it's just a machine, but there is some, connection. Yeah.
Okay, so currently, fast forward, right now you are a Kabbalah teacher, but you're also a rabbi.
Correct.
Okay, so what is Kabbalah?
How can you put it in one word or few words or in 10 different sessions that we're going to have? We're not going to be able to even accumulate the fractional of what Kabbalah is. But what Kabbalah, I say, is about is the universal laws of this reality. because this reality, and I'm mentioning this reality because you would think this is the only reality that you have here. And in truth, the real truth, which people don't want to see, there's many other levels that people are not exposed to because, again, curiosity, fear, dogma, background, belief systems, old belief systems, fragmented thinking, not in unified way of thinking. They will never be exposed to what really going on over here. And Kabbalah is the bridge between these two worlds. Kabbalah is the one tool, it's a tool that's been given to the world prior to any religious organization that had any handling in this world before. Mm-hmm. Way before, that was the intention of this world. But because people are not ready, the generation back then was not equipped with the right tools and mind to handle this type of understanding, and therefore everyone was be able to go into religious practices. Mm-hmm. Just do what you told and that's it. Stop asking questions. Kabbalah is completely dismiss all this idea of no asking question. I want to know. No, you can't. Yes, you should know.
But to oversimplify, would you say Kabbalah is Jewish mysticism?
No, definitely not. That's what it's been. We've been told.
That's what you're going to find.
That's what you're going to find. You search. You this. Of course not.
But that is an oversimplified understanding of
very much. And one of my biggest and I can tell you, like you said, you know me. I'm a little bit of the old school, as you said.
Yeah.
And once you study, and you study many hours and many decades, and you connect it to this wisdom, you realize this is a serious deal. This is a very important wisdom to share. Kabbalah purpose today is to take us to live an immortal life. Immortality, like removal of death. Actually, it says in 1 second you're going to see, in a blink of an eye, death, pain, and suffering will be swallowed, vacant, in a second. And people not going to get it. And they will left out. So therefore, the wisdom meant to touch every individual, every person. If you have a soul, Kabbalah is for you. Mm-hmm. If you say I don't have a soul, if somebody claim like that, I guess it's not for you. You're probably connected to a lower existence of humanity, which is not a problem. One day you're going to wake up, because people wake up in many different ways, right?
Yeah.
Either tremendous chaos, pain, miserable life that they living. It says I can't live my life this way. Either they check out with, committing a crime to themselves, and either they going to drugs and numb themselves, or finding ways to alleviate pain with cheating, with having another things, or addictions, or no way out, and they have to exit.
God forbid.
That's what people.
Yeah.
That's what the steps. It's robotic.
Well, I can say from my own personal experience that the two times that I have come to you, the first time I came and met with you was, this is going back a very long time ago, but it was during a very dark period in my life when I didn't know where to go, and I didn't know what to do and who to turn to. And like you said, the universe guides you in certain directions, and long story short, I wind up sitting on a couch across from you. And I had mentioned, and I said that the piece of advice that you gave me when I first met you was exactly the piece of advice that I was looking for. And so fast forward, then I became to work at the Kabbalah Center for many years, and then I wound up leaving and going to work in other places and do other things, and I disconnected myself completely from the Kabbalah Center. Fast forward many years, I wind up getting cancer. And then again, we reconnect. I essentially come running to your feet at that point in time in my life, because I remembered that when I was in the worst period of my life, you were there and helped pull me out of that hole. And I know that you won't take direct credit for that, but at the same time, the two darkest periods in my life, when I was in the dark hole, you put your hand down in that hole and you pulled me out of it. And for that, there's no words to express the gratitude that you can have for that. But with that being said, I understand that Kabbalah is a community, right? The Kabbalah Center is a community. There's many different branches of Kabbalah.
So there's different things, because you're speaking about either we can go in different direction. You know, there is the Kabbalah wisdom that is untapped. I can tell you, even no matter how much we did research and shared and spread this wisdom, it's almost untapped. Almost untapped. It's
an infinite learning process.
So therefore, there's the Kabbalah, and there's the people in different organizations who popped up the recent years because of what my teacher started, many years ago, which is 100. Actually, last year we celebrate 100 years of the Kabbalah Center. 100 years.
So the Kabbalah Center is essentially its own branch of Kabbalah. It's its own niche.
Yes, it's a community who based on Kabbalistic wisdom, tools, and practices.
Which extends from Yehuda Ashlag.
Yes.
Right?
If we go backward,
the Kabbalah Center.
Kabbalah Center, yes.
Is founded on the teachings of Rabbi Yehuda Ashlag.
Exactly. He started the movement of, he called it Kabbalah Center.
Right.
He's the first one.
Which is where he was now taking Kabbalistic wisdom, which is not supposed to be shared commonly, and was like, hey, here's the books.
Exactly.
Anybody wants to study it, here it is, you can study it.
There was probably a handful of people. We know all their names and who are the people who study with him and who was the most. Because you read his handwriting. We have all his handwriting.
You even have books published.
Many books.
Right.
Yeah.
Based on his teachings and his actual writing.
Yeah, everything is based on his teaching.
Right. So then Yehuda Ashlag, his successor was Rav Bradwine.
Yeah, Rav Yehuda Tzvi Bradwine. He is the one that was let me put it this way, is the least smartest or educated spiritually, but the most dedicated student that you can have. Like to give you just a short example, people know the history of Moses in the desert, have all the tribes, right?
Right.
So when Moses needed a successor, right? So there was a lined up of the most talented, elevated, beautiful, strongest people to be the successor. So if you had maybe you pick one from every tribe, right? So you have 12 guys, right, that were meant to be the leader, the continuation, and the one that was chosen was Joshua. The least amount of knowledge, of wisdom, of guidance, of leadership, nothing.
Well, Joshua had the certainty, and Joshua had the heart.
They refer to a loyal servant.
Yes,
a loyal servant. In some many different. Back then, it was a very very important job. Today people look at it, you're a servant for quote unquote a rabbi or a leader, right? You're just a servant, right? People look down to that. But people don't understand that service or serving somebody else, you gain every wisdom that they have by serving them. The wisdom flow different way. People can sit in the room and study and be so educated and scholars, and they can accomplish that by receiving the information or what they need to know or guidance way deeper when they're in service for others. And when you're in service for somebody that's spreading wisdom, you gain everything they gain, you gain. So that is something that it's important to make sure that in some cultures, in some places, and today reality, they will look down to that. If I would serve my teacher, what do you mean serve?
It's considered a lowly position.
A lowly position,
right?
And the interesting part, these are the people who were chosen to be the continuation,
right?
Because they gain not just the mind, they gain the heart as well.
But
and
the
that's a different
the
thing.
point there too is that the person who's chosen to continue that isn't doing the service for that purpose.
Exactly.
They're there to do the service because
that's the key.
That's the job. They're not looking for that prestige. They're not looking for that position. They're looking to just serve.
And once you do it for that prestige, and I like to call it agenda or hidden agenda, it's going to prolong your process, and eventually you're going to leave.
So to move things just along a little bit, so we went from Ashlag to Bradwine, then we wind up with Philipsburg.
Yes. So Bradwine is a relative of, obviously, when my teacher Rav Berg, he went to Israel for a funeral, and that's where he met his teacher of Bradwine.
He was related to Bradwine through a marriage.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so he met Bradwine, and then
the funeral and all that,
which eventually led to him becoming a student.
Exactly.
And in the process of that, he became Philipsburg became what we call the Rav, right? So for all intents purposes, moving forward, we're going to refer to Philipsburg as the Rav. The Rav essentially brings Kabbalah to the U.S.
So obviously it started in Israel in a basement in Tel Aviv.
Very humble.
Very much basement, literally basement.
Yeah.
A little room with few people, and the Rav used to start teaching,
So after Rav Bradwine passed away, the Rav wound up taking the succession.
Yeah.
And during that time...
Taking or been given. It's different.
Yeah. But anyway, he becomes the successor.
Yes, that was an obvious, we have all the documents and the letters and the desire that the Rav will go and spread this wisdom to the world.
Because
it was never meant to be just in Israel.
Right. But there are people who disagree with that narrative.
Absolutely.
Right. So which is common, because if you visit the gravesite of Yehuda Ashlag, they are not. You can see there's a very clear line between that side of the fence and the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there during that time when you're not very welcomed by that other side of the fence.
Exactly.
Essentially, the Rav comes to the United States and builds a community, right?
The Rav born in Brooklyn.
Right. But he was teaching Kabbalah initially in the basement, as you were saying.
No, that started in Tel Aviv, and then he moved over here to the States, to start spreading this wisdom. He established something very small, continuation in Tel Aviv. A couple of teachers that were able to continue,
went with him.
Flame. No, to stay in Israel, and then he left with his wife Karen, and that's when they start knocking on doors. So
to help people understand, what does it mean to be a part of the community? So if I say I'm part of the community, right? Because that's the term that's going to be widely used in the Kabbalah Center, is community.
I think that it is important that, to define what is community. There's many different...
Well, what does it mean for us in the Kabbalah Center here? If we're talking about the community in the Kabbalah Center, my question actually is what does it mean to be a community in the Kabbalah Center?
First of all, I think there's different, as I said before, there's different circles of community.
Right.
Okay, like you have circles of friends. You have just the closest friends, and then you have the people or your family, right? It's the closest group.
It's like an onion.
Exactly. So there are layers, and alumni, the people who are used to and just somehow getting the information, and there's the people who are a daily practice doing, showing up, commitment, so it's really depend on the level of commitment that the individual had to really help this world.
So essentially, to say community is not a very simple thing. It actually, there's levels and there's layers to it, and it depends on what kind of involvement you want to have. So in the community, there's different levels of involvement.
Yeah.
Right? There's people who are more present and there's people who are less present. So to be part of that community, though, the thesis of the Kabbalah community is to do what?
First of all, is to be educated with the wisdom, right? to have a desire to be educated by that, not to use it only for what I need and what I want. To be able to be part of, this enormous amount of responsibility that the wisdom had and have to this world. You understand? So it really depends on the individual. But again, I wanted to make sure that we understand that anyone can be part of any community and at the same time leave that community as quick as they got in.
Yes.
Right? Kabbalah cannot control, how and what you're going to use that for.
Right.
The original reasons of having a community of Kabbalah is to change the world, one person at a time. That's the original purpose, because when you save one person, it's as if you save the entire world. And that's the method that I believe in.
Okay, so I want to go in a line of very deep questions, which would essentially be very hard to answer questions. The first question is, what is the difference between a Jew and a Gentile?
So, on a soul level,
this is what I'm referring to, yes.
On a soul level,
would you say that one of the differences between Jew and Gentile is that the journey of a Jew is a little bit more intense?
Exactly. Some part of your body probably work harder.
Right.
When you're sitting right now relaxing, the only, what works hard now? Your hand doesn't work. Maybe I moved my hand a little bit, so they work harder. But
so what is the extra work or the harder job of a Jew? What is the responsibility?
So the original reason, as we learn from the Torah, from the 5 books of Moses, is to be the leaders of consciousness and spreading what we call the wisdom in the world. That's the original reason. It's like, imagine the mind, do his own thing and doesn't share and doesn't want to give command to the hands, right? People in the world call it defect, right?
Got it. So to simplify this then, if the difference is soul is on a soul level.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens if, as a Gentile, I don't have a Jewish soul and I don't convert? Then what happens to me? Do I have to come back into this world and earn that title eventually?
I mean, you open a different conversation of reincarnation and the soul.
It's all relative.
I believe it's all relative, and I don't know where you want to go with that, but I will go with the flow of the.
My question essentially is that if I want to get to my potential, which all of these questions are tying into each other.
Okay, that's a good question.
If I want to get to my potential, can that happen without a Jewish soul?
Of course. The answer is 100%.
Okay.
100%. The only idea that I would add here, the difference between quote unquote souls is only what we refer the desire to receive. The desire to receive.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, even if you take this world, and I will explain to you in a way that, related to you as well. Take these minerals, right? What you do, which I am highly admiring and highly respect and inspired by this earth. Look what's exists in this earth.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
It's way more than what we can. And I'll share with you, maybe if you want to go really, really high in consciousness, I will go there with you about it. But what's important to understand, that rock is a mineral, which is an inanimate object, right? It's called the king. There's four different kingdoms.
Inanimate kingdom.
Inanimate kingdom is the lowest kingdom. I mean, this is low because it's in the ground or whatever it is that we're referring to. Then you have the vegetation kingdom, right? That have a little bit more desire. How much desire the rock have? Right? The rock doesn't want much. Just let me sit over here. Don't bother me. Right? That's a desire. A desire of the rock is a certain level.
So as we move through the four kingdoms, the higher you get, which is to the human kingdom, the stronger the desire
between
becomes.
Exactly. The difference between them is
Right.
only the desire. How much do I want?
Right.
The same thing in what you refer to. The Jews supposed to have a bigger desire that is actually to their disadvantage. Because you can't really rest. You need to do so much in this world because you came equipped with a bigger or a larger desire. And it's not better or worse, it's not better than anybody else. It's just a certain purpose, strictly purpose. So every person, when he's fulfilling his purpose and he's happy about what he's serving in this world, he starts to ignite more desire. You cannot ignite, and again, if you need to expend more and more desire, you can do endlessly.
Right.
You need to.
Which in Kabbalah, you would say is called building your vessel.
Exactly.
Right. And the vessel is just essentially your
the capacity
measurement unit for
how much you want.
Right. Okay.
Exactly.
So, quick question is, now that we've gone down, I have a lot of questions left.
I'm here.
What
you need me to do.
What is your basic job description as a Kabbalistic rabbi?
Oh wow!
Basic job description.
Many years ago, I realized. I cannot call it a job, so I would not refer as my job or your job.
Let's say responsibilities then.
So,
what are your responsibilities as a Kabbalistic rabbi?
To live and to guide my life based on these principles and teachings.
To be exemplary.
To be example.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which I can say personally for me, I don't always being the best example, which is the beauty of the wisdom, to see how much we can improve, and that's part of what we need to do and want to do, not need, it's not need.
Would you say that becoming a Kabbalistic rabbi in that sense means that your desire to learn that wisdom is very, very high?
I would say no. I would say my desire to spread this wisdom is high.
But you need to learn it before you can spread it.
And that's the beauty of that.
Right. Which you're constantly learning.
Yes, but I will not learn for me. Every day I open the books, I dive deeper, nights,
so that you can help your students.
Because the world needs to hear this wisdom.
Right.
People are in chaos, they need this wisdom.
So your
I don't know how I'm going to meet tomorrow. They need this wisdom. So what I studied yesterday and 2 days before is for today. It's not for me.
Right. So your desire to receive the wisdom of Kabbalah is essentially so you can share it.
The only reason.
Okay.
The point I'm trying to make over here is that Kabbalah is not a job. Or for me, I would never want to be a teacher. Never. That was in the wildest dream in my life.
We can also define job in different ways, right? So, for example, people say, I love my job, or I hate my job.
Okay.
Right? So, essentially, a job is just a list of responsibilities, right? The definition of a job essentially is a list of responsibilities.
Okay.
So, to say that, the word job and the connotation around the word job is just necessarily what the fulfillment of your responsibilities are. So when I'm saying job, I'm saying what is it in a day that you have to kind of get to. So I understand already to some degree. One of the things is that you are praying daily.
Again, just to understand that this is not our purpose here to come here and have a job, accounting or all of those. No, these jobs been made for us essentially so we will feel that we can influence. People look at that as like, oh, I have to go to work tomorrow, and like in a way of like achy feeling to go there, and like it's consumed 8 to 10 days of their day. I'm sure, like you have 17 hours a day of a job, call it a job,
Yeah, yesterday I did 14 hours.
Okay, so for me it's 24/7.
Yeah.
I don't look at it as a job.
Right.
I look at it as like I'm on.
So it's a lifestyle.
Exactly.
Okay. So in that lifestyle that you have, what are some of the basic duties that you perform?
So obviously, I'll tell you, the Kabbalistic practice is very, very unique, and it's important to understand that very, very deep. Why? There is the physical world and then the spiritual world. Today, I don't need to convince you anymore, because scientists already came to the conclusion what the Kabbalah speaks about for the last 5,000-6,000 years.
Right.
Physicists, scientists, all of those people, they're talking about that what you see in this world is 0.00000, maybe another 0.1 from the actual reality. There is a 99.999% world that we haven't yet exposed ourselves to. Just to really understand.
This is the concept that the Kabbalists refer to as the 1% versus the 99%.
Yes, yeah, the physical and the spiritual.
Right.
Now there is a deeper understanding.
The 1% being the physical and 99% being the spiritual.
The physical world that we observe in our five senses,
The issue runs into that the average person has it backwards, yeah?
Exactly. So now this is what Kabbalah is all about.
Is helping you get to the right side of the coin.
Exactly, but what? But how? The same idea is every single day. The Kabbalists refer to, as you ask me, what am I doing during the day? Or how do I structure my day? First of all, you structure the spiritual structure of the day. You create a spiritual structure to the day. And then it will, the world of physicality will follow. But because we live life and we're waking up into our coffee, our this, our 1%, our physical, I need to do this, I need to shower, I need to eat, I need to do this, I need to sell, I need to buy, I need to pay debt.
The seed level of your
day.
And
eventually it's all chaos.
Well, so the seed level of your day is being locked into the physicality of things, right? You wake up, you open your eyes, first thing, check.
What do I need to do? Exactly.
Right.
What do I need to do?
Where what you're saying is that, and let me try to oversimplify this. You're saying that your duty as a Kabbalistic rabbi is to not put emphasis on the 1%, but on the 99%.
Because the 1% will follow.
Right.
Once you create a spiritual order, the physical will follow. It's just a matter of, I will say the word, but in quotation, right? Time.
Yeah.
Time will show you how the 1%, the physical world, will follow.
Yeah. I actually recently I referenced this, and I had an analogy for this. Is where when you walk your dog, some dogs walk the person, and some people walk their dog, right? So essentially, what you're saying is that when you are attached to this 1% reality, the physical reality, the dog is walking you. But when you're attached to the 99%. You're walking the dog. The dog follows you. The 1% follows the 99%. Is this a good analogy?
Absolutely.
Okay. So just to oversimplify, your duty as a Kabbalistic rabbi, because again, it is a description, and I know you're saying that it's not a job, but... And
I prefer not to have any titles, so I never will present myself this way.
I've never heard you say you're a rabbi. I've never heard you say that.
It's never part of my vocabulary. I will be if the people need me to be. If I perform a wedding and they will present me as the rabbi will do that whatever the situation.
So that's kind of what I was getting to.
I'm not into that, or at least that's not our training as title. Or I'm a person, I'm a spiritual person.
Yeah.
That's I would refer it to.
So what is the difference between a Kabbalistic rabbi and an Orthodox rabbi?
The difference is not to tell people what to do, is to show them what to do. Do you understand? It's not to tell people where they should be, is to show them how to get there. In religion, which I had many encounters before that, I really did make an effort to go to the religious practices in Israel. I went to rabbis, and the amount of thing that I heard was like, I could not really be part of it.
Right.
And if you don't keep Shabbat, you're not Jewish, or you die and you go to hell. If you don't do this, you all kind of horrible things, which happen in Christianity, in Islam,
it's
in any religion. it's been forced. And the one thing that the difference between Kabbalistic practice and any other practices is that Kabbalistically it says many times, En kfiya baruchani. There is no coercion in spirituality. Once you tell somebody what to do, it's already coercion. If you show them, and if you explain it, and if you tell them, if you give them the ability to choose that will remain with them forever.
So, can we say that the difference between a Kabbalist and an Orthodox rabbi is going to be emphasis on spiritualism versus religion?
Yes, and it's important to understand what I just said. No coercion in the spiritual aspect. In Kabbalah, there is no forcing somebody.
Right. So if I study Kabbalah, I don't have to keep Shabbat.
Exactly.
If you're my Kabbalah teacher,
exactly.
If you're my Kabbalah teacher and I don't keep Shabbat, you're not going to come to me and say, "Hey, listen, you're not allowed here anymore because you're not keeping Shabbat."
Not just that. No, as a Christian person, they will not let you be in the synagogue for too long if you're not converting, right? Or they're not going to let you in at all. You know.
Going back to the understanding that if I'm in an Orthodox community or a religious community per se, if I don't show up for Shabbat and I break Shabbat, I'm in big trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So the difference is coercion.
Yes.
Okay. So is there a difference between religion and spiritualism then?
The religious practice is meant to transcend people's consciousness. That's really the religious practices. But
would you say religious practices are discipline?
Yeah, the disciplines, or even Shabbat, or even wearing. We know the Jewish men, they're wearing tefillin every day.
Yeah.
And a lot of people doing it just because they doing it from a habitual reason, or from
because it's a rule,
or what the father told them to do, or what the rabbi told them to do, and that's a rule, right?
Yeah. So you would consider yourself a spiritual person?
I will consider myself that I'm on a spiritual path.
Okay.
To be a spiritual person, again, that's why I'm hesitant to answer that, because of a lot of people using these terms. Oh, he's very spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this person is very spiritual.
It's trendy.
It's trend, exactly. And imagine if you are a spiritual person, you're not physical person. You understand? Meaning physicality won't bother you.
Mm-hmm.
Physicality you won't be attached to physicality. Just to understand, yes, we are spiritual, but we're also physical, right? So I like to refer it as I'm on a spiritual path.
Mm-hmm. I like that a lot. So what does that mean though? Like how do you define that? So if I come to you and I say, Benjamin, I want to become a spiritual person, right? That would be the way that I would say it, right? Organically.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a different way of looking. But if I come to you and say, I want to be a spiritual person,
yeah.
What would you tell me then?
I would say, first of all, you need to find a path that leads you there, that speaks your heart, that speaks your gut, that speaks your mind. That is referred to, even the people are like-minded, thinking like you. So
right.
If you go to people of the same mindset and desire to change the world. That's the key here, is that we know that this wisdom is never meant to be just for us to enjoy it for us. It's meant to be shared, spread, and transform people's life.
So as we said earlier on, spiritualism is more of a lifestyle.
Yeah.
But you need a path.
Yes.
You need a road to walk on.
Yeah.
Right? That you can exemplify your lifestyle on that road, and on that road you're looking for like-minded people who are thinking in a similar direction to travel with.
Yes, and I can tell you even differently. Once you start changing that direction, or start having desire, the universe will bring it to you. What we call in Kabbalah, or maybe the second lesson in Kabbalah, is like attracts like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And we know that law is very, very ancient law, and people think, how come I attracted this negative person? Because there is some deeper likable energy that needs to be transformed and been,
right,
used for growth.
So my next question is, do you believe in God? Yes or no answer?
Yes.
Okay. What is God?
For me, it's everything.
Everything.
Everything, the bad, the good, the ugly, the beauty,
So do you believe God is like a person?
No.
So how can we get he referred to God?
Very simple. Kabbalistically, when we speak in this way, and you can listen to the classes as well, first I would refer to he as what we call in Kabbalah energy source, as right column energy. It's a he, it's a male. It's like when you look at electricity, you don't think that the plus is better than the minus. You don't think that the minus is less, right? Or they put the minus as a color of black.
They're polarities that rely on each other.
Yeah. Without the both, there's no light.
Which one is which? Again, without going too deep.
When you refer to God,
yeah.
or we refer to the Creator, okay, is right column energy. It's a sharing, unlimited, untapped, unannounced, unrelated.
And that's the male aspect.
That's the male aspect.
But then we have the female aspect.
The female aspect is what we call the desire to receive. It's the she, which is the female aspect. In Kabbalistic term, we call it the Shekhinah, the Holy Shekhinah, which is the Holy Mother, right? And obviously that's what we refer to she, which is I want, the desire to receive.
With your understanding of God is right column and left column energy, masculine and feminine, which are not necessarily related to gender per se, right?
Of course not.
Right. So, because again, when you hear positive and negative, it's very easy for someone to go, so you're saying that women are on the desire to receive, on the side of judgment, the side of again, it's a narrative that's very easy to go in that particular direction.
because people looking at the story, the biblical story, and the creation of Adam and Eve, right? The Kabbalistically, we're not looking at it as like Adam and Eve, right? Because they were connected,
right?
They were connected, meaning there was that's what the story
the consciousness,
right? The story referred to they were one body, right? Almost like connected, and then. Because that's what it says, take a rib from Adam, creating Eve, that's like such a diminishing the woman, that she's just an extension of the husband. That's such a wrong presentation to humans. Every person, every individual, you're a man, you're a woman, you have male and female energy. You have desire to receive and desire to share.
But then you have central column energy.
But central column energy is an infant stage of, where we are. That's the muscle that needs to be developed. It's not something that you get it and you have it.
So what happens to the wasted energy that a person is not manifesting?
There is no such a thing in spirituality, waste. It's only in this physical world there is waste. So
at a baseline, that unfulfilled potential, that unfulfilled energy that's coming your direction.
Unfulfilled potential, that's great description for what you meant by that. So I'm giving you, for example, if I'm giving you a cup of water to drink, and you don't drink it, right? And you keep it on the table. After a day or two, what will happen to this water?
It becomes less clean.
And part of it will evaporate, right? Part of it will evaporate.
It'll go back up, yeah.
It will evaporate, right?
Yeah.
But it's not going to taste good anymore. Meaning that's the idea of feeling, quote unquote, judgment. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
I gave you all of that, and you did not use it. And if you didn't use it, why didn't you let others enjoy that? Okay, and then nobody can use it. Now in your life, you create what we call judgment. What is judgment? Limitation, which means I cannot give you more right now unless you're going to clean, right, part of you.
Right. Which essentially gets built up in your quote-unquote vessel.
Exactly.
And then once the vessel is clean, you have the capability to become a channel.
Exactly.
Right, which means that you can consistently receive and consistently share, and you create the circuitry of receiving and sharing.
Think about, again, go back to your gems, right?
There's only so many gems this place can hold. If I just keep them all to myself, eventually I'm going to fill this place. I'm not going to have any room for more gems. But if I get the gems in and I immediately sell them or share them, I can get new gems and sell and share, and then you create the circuitry.
Exactly, and also the energy of the gem
doesn't become stagnant.
Exactly, because when you share it, it starts moving, it starts being connected to a certain circuitry. And this is the idea of the main work of Kabbalah, is to create circuitry in our life.
So what is the devil?
Okay,
what is
beautiful.
Satan?
Beautiful question. Each one of us, again, first of all, what is not? It's not what religion sold us. First of all, take away the what it's not, you know. And what is not, it's not the devil that waiting for us and, you know, after you die, come and take you to hell and fires, and he's a stick and a tail and all that's, you know, visceral, or I would say a little bit, you know, scary, you know, sight to that being presented to, at least to kids. You know, as a kid, you're growing up, that's what they tell you.
Well, it's a great way to scare people into a narrative.
To control people.
Yes.
So as I said before, what is not? It's not that is waiting for you when you die, and then it takes you to hell and all of that. That's a whole different concept that is completely were disguised by religious people or people who want to control humans. Very easy to control them from a childhood with this type of stories.
Yeah.
Okay. Kabbalistically, Satan is a system that exists within each and every one of us, that try or want to or desire to control us from a very young age. Not when you leave this world, when you live in this world.
So Satan or Satan is not a fallen angel as most religions portray it.
Okay, so the story is referred to a falling angel.
Well, and the first time we see Satan showing up is in the Garden of Eden, telling
as
Eve
a snake,
to eat the apple.
So that story, that idea is what we're talking about. The falling angel is not the idea of, again, the story have its own merit and its own reasons, you know. But back to your question about Satan, is an angel that is being assigned to a specific task. That's as simple as I'm saying.
What is that task?
Okay. Angel, which is a whole different angelic system, it's, the Kabbalists call it, is the delivery system.
Mm-hmm.
It's known to be that all the angels, besides few, can only do one job, one task. It's one task oriented. That's what the angels are. That's the system. And in this case, so the Creator assigned one of the angels to each one of us. Each one of us have this angel or system that meant to divert you out of your path. I like to call it Satan as the opponent or the drifter.
Yeah.
Is making sure to drift you out of your goals, out of your path, out of your potential, that you will go on the highway and you skip the exit. You know, he was like, oh, look over there, and then you skip the exit. That's the job. That's the only thing you need to do. To divert, I would say, to distract you from your goals, from what you meant to do.
So Satan is a system of angels?
Yes.
So each person being assigned their own Satan.
Custom made, exactly. Satan. To trigger you that, let's say...
So Satan is not just one entity, one thing. It's
like a headquarter that have many soldiers, many angels that serve the same purpose.
So the concept of Satan is a specifically engineered angel delivery system for you, custom made for you.
Perfect.
That is just a tiny bit ahead of you all the time.
Ahead of the game all the time. I want to make sure we understand. The opponent is not the enemy. Even though in sport, we versus them and our team and your team is like completely, fun part, but sometimes become very negative. But the idea is that when we're facing a stronger opponent and we defeat, the joy is like, I will never come to you and say, by the way, I played yesterday with my 5-year-old boy basketball, and I beat him.
Yeah.
And like, you will look at, so totally, we're not going to be enjoying that. And the challenge there makes us better, and that's the Satan. It's like this catfish, as I said before. He's presenting you, with
so it's
opportunity.
not as bad as we would imagine it to be.
Oh, without that, there's no reason for you to be here.
Right. So actually, it's divisive, and it's there to actually push us in a direction that helps us grow.
Exactly. But how? But by showing us the opposite. And we need to choose the other way around.
Right. So can we say that one of the better attributes of Satan is doubt?
Oh, that's his main key. To doubt everything you do. Besides, not to doubt being selfish.
Let me ask you this question. Why is it that then, because most people are associating Satan with evil.
Yeah.
Right? Are they associated?
Yeah. The concept of evil is in Hebrew or Aramaic is Resha. Resha is Rasha, which is an evil person. Rasha, it's an evil person. Ra, it's a bad person, right? Is Ra, bad, right? So the concept of Rasha, which is evil, in Kabbalistic terms, it's just initials. The word Rasha, Resh, Shin, Ayin, it's initial. It stems for Ratzon Shel Atzmo, desire for the self alone. That's evil. So the source of evil in this world is simply a desire to receive that we have, that is being used only for ourselves alone. That's the source of evil.
Can you, by chance, simplify the
chance? Not, but I can definitely.
Oh, I'm saying, can you simplify reincarnation?
Okay, so I will tell you the big picture of how Kabbalistically we look at that.
And also, reincarnation will remove the idea of infinite hell and also infinite heaven, right? Reincarnation removes that wall.
Reincarnation is again part of the system of the. You know what? I can tell you what. You drive on a highway and you miss the exit. What do? You have another U-turn. You have another system to go out and go back to the same, right? Go around and go back again to your path, right? Some people stuck in a loop for thousands of years. They keep going, missing the exit. Oh, going back again. Sometimes people don't even know that they are stuck in it. If people like really open themselves or meditate a little bit to stop the speed and then slow down and realize, I've been here before. I've experienced that before. Maybe you probably were a rock before. Maybe 5,000 years ago. Who knows? It's a very deep concept, but the beginning, the quote unquote the end of the tikkun or correction, and in between the 6,000 years that where the souls comes in and out, in and out, in and out to complete a certain correction or adaptation.
So just to define, so a correction is essentially coming from Adam and Eve, correct?
It starts from here.
Right. So the seed level of our correction as human beings is coming from Adam and Eve.
That's what we refer to.
Right. And what is that correction that needs to be made there?
So transform the desire to receive for the self alone to the one of sharing.
So the original sin of Adam and Eve was desire to receive for the self alone.
Yes.
So we need to correct that.
We want to. And if you...
Well, we need to.
Again, that's the idea of the person wants to get to a place that he feel the need to do that. If you tell somebody, you need to do this, already I don't want to do it. Or you have to do this, already is coercion.
Well, I mean, the whole point of us being in this world essentially is to...
Beautiful.
Correct
Now,
that.
now go back to your story. Well, I don't want to do it. But you need to do it. Oh, don't tell me what I need to do. Oh, don't tell me what I have to do. Okay, you had a chance. Then you have to check out from this physical world and come back right away in a different shoes, in a different. It's like, people look at that in a difficult way.
But why make the process or the potential of the process of coming and going so horrific?
That's what people do. It doesn't have to be horrific or horrendous situation, right?
We just perceive it that way?
Yeah, as I said, when you switch your phone, you just take your number, the data, who you are with you.
Yeah, but
it just look like different from
right.
a flip phone to a smartphone.
I guess here's my question. So let's just say that I come to you and we go to the phone store and I say, hey, I want to trade in my old phone. I want to get a new phone.
Yes.
I could just hand over the old phone and peacefully take a new phone. Or I can decide to take my phone and put it on the floor while it's still active and stomp on it till it has no life left in it. So why would it be that those two options, right? Because now we have a very large...
What do you mean not life? There's only not physical...
Right. But the process to get it to a place where it's disconnected, one could be very violent and very extreme, or one could just be, you go to sleep.
Yeah.
Why is there that spectrum?
Beautiful.
Is my question.
So let's go back to the discussion of the vessel. If the vessel throughout life, selfish, another layer, there's no left room to give you any more light, any more energy. So you have to leave. So for example, if that cup will be filled with a lot of garbage, almost like a cement, you will have to dump it, break it, and get rid of it. You won't be able to dig it out. Do you understand? So sometime at some point when people are, sitting down, lazy, not moving, being selfish again, eventually they need to be removed. Or another idea is, if I have, let's say for example, almost like it's important to know, when you're born you get 100% capacity of the desire. If that desire is not being used for the sake of influencing and sharing and transformation, right? Eventually you're going to run out of the desire before you're getting to the end result. You will have to be checked out and come back and get a new vessel, new desire to complete it. It's like, for example, if I give you a tank full of gas, a car full of gas tank, I'll tell you, listen, it's going to be enough exactly to get to LA, okay? From New York to LA. And all of a sudden on the way, you've been busy, let me check over there, and let me stay over here, let me go around over here, and you run out of fuel. They had to check you out because you're never going to make it to LA or to the destination.
Right. Got it.
And that's the idea.
Okay, so the question I have is, in a recent lecture that you gave, you mentioned that a truly devout student could raise someone from the dead.
Yeah.
In TLE.
Yeah.
You were saying that if you took a very consolidated group of students and only focused on those students and X, Y, and Z, that you would be able to essentially lead a person in a direction where they could perform a miracle of that kind of degree.
Of course, it's not a secret that when a group of people unite in a certain mindset, or let's say, for example, they made many experiment of like, you take two people sitting in a bed in a hospital bed, suffer from the same thing, and one is going to procedures, and one, the same procedures, but one is being meditated by this group, this individual, everyone pray for him or meditate on him or using healing energy to that person. There's a clear evidence that his healing, his process is much faster than somebody else, right? So there's a lot of evidence today, even scientifically, that when you have a group or intentional energy, Even here, if you take all your team together and you unite them on the same goal and the same desire and meditate focused energy, right? In any team building and anything, this is the idea. So, Kabbalistically, we meant to bring this world to an immortal place. It's never meant to be an end. It's endless.
So did you mean that metaphorically speaking, or did you mean it literally?
Literally. That's the goal. Removal of pain, suffering, and death.
From a Kabbalistic perspective, because a large percentage of the world is Christian, right? So from a Kabbalistic perspective, what is the Kabbalistic perspective on Jesus and Jesus Christ?
So there's many things that Kabbalistically we can see and can refer to, but I can tell you that
which his name is not even Jesus; it was Yeshua.
Yeshua, okay,
right?
And I agree with, in his time, the religious people, the control around that time, the Roman, the Greeks, all this that type of reality that was there before and after is almost like he's the one that said, you know what, we have to spread it to everybody. We can't keep it in rooms. We can't keep it here. I don't believe or even know that his intention was to create a religion.
Okay? Probably not.
Or to make himself like better than everybody else, or higher than anybody else. But it was the opposite, you know.
But there's two trains of thought. One is that Jesus was actually a student. Which again, quick question: by saying Jesus and not actually Yeshua, when people call on Jesus, they're not really calling on Yeshua, right? Because the name is important. That's always something that I found interesting. Why did you change the name? Why do we have this name to that name, and why are we calling on this name that's actually not the accurate name? Isn't that a weird kind of concept?
But why they don't call him Joshua?
Yeshua. No, it's Jesus.
Jesus.
How did we get? So again, why did we change the name of that particular biblical figure? Right. Well, again, nothing to do with you, but I'm just saying I think it's interesting that they changed the name of the actual biblical figure so that now people don't even think about Jesus as Yeshua. They say Jesus. Mm-hmm. Right. So when you call to Jesus, who you're actually calling to, because it wasn't even the name of a person.
That's true. That'd
be like me, you in a room, and I'm calling out Steve. Are you going to look to me?
Yeah.
Right. So there's a weird concept, first of all, but even more deeper. My question is that do we believe that Jesus was a student of a Kabbalist at that time, or do we believe that Jesus and the story of Jesus is a compilation of different Kabbalists from different periods of times that were compiled together?
I don't know about the child of or the son of. I know definitely that around that period of time, and that period of time, 2,000 years ago, plus minus, is where the Zohar was revealed. The sacred text of Kabbalah was revealed. It's where Rabbi Shimon, the student of Rabbi Akiva, around that time there was many different schools
powerful
of thoughts.
Kabbalists,
very powerful, and that's what they did. They spread the wisdom of Kabbalah, and that's what drew this attention and of religious dogmatic people who kind of like, no, it's forbidden. People are not gonna get it. People will take and use it in different ways, so they closed it and had to put it in hiding.
Right.
And what I refer to Jesus as a person says, no, I'm going to go around and spread the wisdom. That's actually what I want to say. I don't.
So do you think Jesus was a Kabbalist?
In many ways, yes. In many ways, yes.
So you think Jesus was actually a figure that existed at some point in history?
I mean, the evidence that we know, yes, as far as the story, as far as this, I can't refer to just a physical person that I never met, but I know from evidence of many different scholars and many different sages who refer to him as a falling or whatever it is, that an outcast or stuff like that. I look at it as like he wanted to spread the wisdom, and he find a way through stories, through going around. And by the way, that's how the story of Abraham started. You know, he came from a very negative place, but he got the knowledge and obviously the awakening to go and spread wisdom. So he walk around and tell stories about and help people to transform.
Okay, rapid fire questions, because I know you got to go. If you could only own one book, what would it be?
Zohar.
Written by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, right? So do you believe that just by owning the Zohar, you can generate miracles?
Not just, but definitely it's a very important tool that human can have access to regardless of your level of spirituality. And it says in the Zohar, those of us who want to connect to the Zohar, they just need to make the effort. Elu hamishtadlim. These people who are making a tremendous effort to connect, and it's nothing to do, vela tzrichim nisayon. They don't need to experience or anything. They need the heart, the mind, to make the effort and to really put more effort into connecting. They can receive and can be a channel through this light.
So you would take the Zohar over your prayer book?
You mean because the prayer book are nothing if you don't have the Zohar interpreted and tell you what are those prayers.
So you would take the Zohar over a prayer book?
Yeah.
If you could only pray for one thing, what would it be?
The end of pain and suffering and death. It's not if, it's what everything is about.
Are you an honest person?
Not when I'm falling to my ego.
Are you a fair person?
No. Because fairness is concept that just, it's an ego concept. It's a what we call 1% concept. It's not spiritual. There's no spiritual fairness. Okay?
If you could only give one piece of advice to a stranger, what would it be?
Take care of your soul.
If you could only give one piece of advice to yourself, what would it be?
Really worry about your ego.
Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.